So welcome to the NetApp Tech Pro Nordics webinar or Meetup. So this is a playground for us techie people that like to work with NetApp technologies. So it's both end customers and partners joining this meeting today. And the objective is to learn more about our products and our technologies and to share experiences within the group as well. So I'm happy to have you guys here today to present on ONTAP Essentials. So with that said, I will hand it over to you, Yossi and Edward.
Thank you, John. So let me just get my desktop shared here. So we have, a few slides. What's a product manager without slides? You have to have slides. So,
yeah, exactly. I just wanted to mention as well, if anyone has any questions, is it okay to take it during the presentation, or do you want it after the presentation to sum it up?
let's do both. If anybody has like what they feel is a short question, feel free to chime in with the question, and we'll have a time for Q&A at the end.
Yeah, perfect. So please leverage both the chat and the Q&A functions should be enabled for everyone. So just go ahead and ask any questions if you have any. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, so let me just start with introductions, right? So I've been at this NetApp tools game for quite some time. I've been product manager for Active IQ Unified Manager for a number of years ago. And for the last 3 years, I've been with Cloud Insights and specifically focusing on what we do with ONTAP and driving ONTAP features in Cloud Insights. Ed, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm a technical director here at NetApp. My focus has been on ONTAP manageability in general, and specifically observability, remediation, reporting, AI ops, those kind of things. For products like Cloud Insights or Unified Manager, Harvest, Cisco Intersight, and the like. Nice to meet you all.
Awesome. So let's jump right into it. And so what are we talking about? So I
just one thing. I can see that you have your reminders window on the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Screen.
Thank you. I would not have noticed.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So back to the flow. So what are we covering today? So we are actually not going to be talking about Cloud Insights because Cloud Insights is, such a capable service with so many features that there's no way that we could do it justice in a single session. We're going to focus on something that's new and been introduced over the last year with Cloud Insights, which is extended support for ONTAP, what we call ONTAP Essentials. And I promise you that at the end of the session, you will know a lot about this and you'll be confident about taking this to the next step and showing it to customers and working with using it there. So let's talk a little bit. I'll have some visuals here, but what I plan to do is just explain why we're doing this. And then Ed will walk you through a demo and showcase some of the capabilities. So why have we built ONTAP Essentials in Cloud Insights? And if anything, what I'll point out to you is in this Cloud Insights menu, you have an observability area, a ransomware workload security area, and a whole area dedicated to ONTAP called ONTAP Essentials with a number of menu items that you'll get to see today. So why have we done this? Why have we made this investment? It is because SaaS monitoring, SaaS observability, SaaS manageability is the future of IT. We see more and more customers transitioning to that, and there's demand for managing ONTAP through there. That's why we have the Blue XP initiative, and that's why we've been investing in providing the observability monitoring capabilities through Cloud Insight. So this is the place to go for future-facing capabilities. Little more specifics. Why should you care, right? Because we have a lot of tools. Ed spoke about them. We have Active IQ Unified Manager, which is mature. We have Harvest. We have a number of tools out there, right? Why this? Why? Well, a very important piece is that this is designed to work really simply out of the box, especially with regards to the customer experience of setting it up. There is practically nothing to do on customer premise. There's, after initial setup, there's nothing for the customer to actually manage on an ongoing basis. It is truly a service. It does what the existing tools do, and then it has some new capabilities that are super cool that leverage some of the abilities that we have in the cloud to do things better. Part of that is using tools around analytics and machine learning and running that and helping that drive your mean time to resolution and drive that better, right? And that's both for problems and incidents that are detected and alerted on, as well as analyzing ongoing conditions and helping direct. This is also cloud, right? This is cloud insights, not on-command insights. We're running in the cloud, and as your customers move more and more to a hybrid cloud and use FSx for NetApp, use CVO, use some other things, we support all of that seamlessly together, right? So you get the same level of capabilities for an ONTAP system in the cloud as you do on-prem, dependent on what the cloud first-party provider allows you to see, right? Certain things might be limited. And we partner with the leading cloud providers. So this is truly the next generation ONTAP monitoring, both on-prem and in the cloud. And then this is really easy to demo at a customer environment. Because we have a free trial available, we designed it so that within 2 weeks, a customer can actually get to the point where they see a lot of value out of this and then can understand why they want this. So the next slide is a little bit of an eye chart, right? And this is all these different things that Cloud Insights can do for ONTAP, right? This is all items that are pre-built in Cloud Insights. You'll see a lot of these demoed today, but I think the real differentiator, what you want to take away from this slide, and I don't expect you to memorize this, is that there is a huge wealth of features and there is customizability. What do I mean by that? So Cloud Insights comes with pre-packaged over 200 alerts for ONTAP. And it has the full ability to create custom alerts. Any EMS message that ONTAP will generate, Cloud Insights can alert about it. And then you can go ahead and build a dashboard, a custom view that will help the customer manage and troubleshoot that specific issue. So a key benefit of Cloud Insights is that we have all the standard stuff for ONTAP and the customizability so that your customer, when they have a specific issue that they want to deal with, they can very often, very easily, very quickly make that part of their ongoing manageability view in Cloud Insights. So, just a little bit more before we jump into the demo. But some of the things that we do really well at Cloud Insights is scale up and out, right? As your customers grow, there's no concerns about adding instances, et cetera. We support, things, the hybrid cloud, visibility in the cloud, but we also go way more than that. So now stepping away from ONTAP Essentials, Cloud Insights has great capabilities around ONTAP for ransomware, right? With our storage workload security offering, lots of content about that available on NetApp TV, et cetera. Not only that, but we also have really kick-ass compute monitoring. So the visibility of for the VMware workloads and Kubernetes workloads is there as well. So we go way beyond ONTAP. Not only that, but we also cover the other NetApp products and services, such as the various cloud offerings, StorageGrid, and E-Series, SolidFire, et cetera. I think a key piece here is also the out-of-box dashboards and alerts, right? This is pre-built, pre-canned, ready to use, and then you can customize it and drive it to a far more specific view. So with that, I think I've said enough words for one morning, at least for this beginning. I'm going to hand it over to Ed, who's going to walk us through a demo, and you'll just get to see a lot of this live. Ed, go ahead.
Sure. Let me share my screen here and get that set up. All right. All right. Hopefully you can see a picture of a dashboard, and then we'll take this away. So, I think Yossi set things up wonderfully as he always does. Our focus in Cloud Insights was to bring the capabilities that our on-prem tools have to the cloud, so that you could take advantage of a product that was largely not deployed on-prem, always up to date, all those kinds of features that you get from a SaaS product. We're releasing new features in Cloud Insights every month. You get those right away. There's no long delay. And we think 2 weeks to value is a tremendous thing. Our focus as we've gotten started has really been in two areas. It's been on monitoring and reporting, and to some extent troubleshooting as well. I'm gonna dive into those kind of in that order, and I'm going to take you through kind of some of the high level information that's there. But let's get started with monitoring. Monitoring comes in a couple of forms, right? One is here's the human who's actually looking at the dashboard, right? And so we have a wealth of dashboards, some of which I'm going to go into in a minute, where you can look at and get a sense of status. It's on across your data center or data centers, right? So here we are monitoring 49 clusters of various different sizes. We've got some general information here about some places that we might want to go take a look at. And reporting as well. Reporting, Cloud Insights offers a wealth of advanced features in the paid for versions. Reporting is a tremendous capability that is available there. We're going to stick mostly to the basic ONTAP basic version, the freemium product that's out today, just to give you a good sense of what you get to start with. But it's good to know that those advanced reporting capabilities are there. There's also some wonderful advanced insights that are there that will help you reclaim cold storage and other things like that that are in the pay for version. But let's focus today a little bit on the free version and do a deep dive there. So what I'd like to first get started on is some of the dashboard technology that's in Cloud Insights. What we've spent some time doing is really giving Cloud Insights a deep insight into ONTAP itself. And so as we've done that, we've actually been able to do some really cool things with the dashboards that are out there. Now, if you've not seen the base Cloud Insights product, under observability, you'll find this dashboard section. And these are all dashboards that are either pre-built or built by a person on this client. And so let's take a look at one of the pre-built dashboards that I've already added here. And this is power and temperature. So if you're interested in sustainability, one of the things that Cloud Insights can help you do right now out of the box, it's been there for about a year, is understand your power consumption. So you can look at your clusters, you can understand how much power is being consumed by a cluster. You can understand quite a bit here. You can understand your different tiers of storage, how much each individual tier of storage is costing you. You can understand how much, what your wattage per IOP is. And so if you look at your new equipment, you can see how efficient they are. If you look at your old equipment, you can see how efficient they are. We've got information on temperature and environmental settings here, where you can make some decisions if you want to raise the air conditioning a little bit inside of your lab. What's the impact on your machines? So there's quite a bit of data here on power and temperature, and these were all just built in the same way that our customers could build them. These are dashboards that are done using the dashboard creation tools that let us visualize the data that's inside Cloud Insights. And I like to lead with that just because I think it makes it readily apparent how much Cloud Insights knows about your environment. And these are some relatively simple things you can do using drag and drop tools to assemble dashboards to give you information on your environment that might be relevant to you. But we've got these beautiful canned things that are available for you here as well. So let's take a look at another dashboard that I think is interesting. That's pre-built. That's here for you. So if we go to dashboards, and now you can see that there's this gallery of dashboards that are out there that ships with the product. And so I mentioned that cold data was a pay-for feature, the insights, but they're included in the free version. We also have a basic report that helps you identify cold data within your environment, and then you can make your own decisions about what to do with it. So let's see here. All right, so we've added cold data in. Maybe I misclicked here, sorry. It's possible I don't have permission on this client to add this cold data dashboard, in which case I'll demo it to you later. But the cold data dashboard will allow us to go look at each of your different storage tiers. There we go. I must have clicked a minute ago. So here we can see how much cold data that we have across this infrastructure, this environment. We can see where we've got inefficient use of cold data. We can look at the different tiers. So here's cold data by SSD, right? And our top cold data workloads. We can look at cold data by HDD and see our top workloads. We also have, this is a lab, we've got some virtual disks in here, so it's showing us information there as well. But you can see a breakdown of where your data is and go take action. You know, we find that customers in general have about 10% of their data cold. And if you're getting above that, maybe you want to go clean up. So these are some useful tools that were done just using the out-of-box data that's there without getting into any of the wonderful features that, that we pre-baked in. So be aware of Cloud Insight's ability to create your own dashboards. Be aware of Cloud Insight's ability to go mine the data and build views that are really specific to your needs. And then, of course, be aware of the dashboard gallery, where we've pre-created a whole bunch of dashboards that have views that we think might be interesting to you. Now, I should call out, you know, there's this edit button in the upper right-hand corner. We can click that. We can make changes to anything we see on these screens. I'm not going to do that in this demo. But it's worth noting that these are all completely editable. Any slide that any item that we see here, we can make changes to, or add new items, all kinds of different stuff. That's the new variables, new widgets. I won't get into dashboard customization today because that is a core Cloud Insights feature. We're really focused on ONTAP.
Ed, if I could throw out a question. So we know Cloud Insights is a heterogeneous tool, so it collects hundreds of different metrics for any storage system. But I know we have some custom metrics for ONTAP and just for ONTAP. How many of those are out there nowadays? I think when we started it a couple of years ago, it was 600. But are we over 1,000 at this yet?
You know, I don't have a count anymore, Yossi. I've lost count actually at this point. We really have, you know, we spent about 2 years really beefing up Cloud Insights data. And so, you know, one of the things that's new, in addition to all the different metrics and configuration settings that we bring into Cloud Insights, we've also brought in synthetic metrics. So you'll see things like time to full, and I'll show you those in a few minutes. How long until I have a problem, right? You know, that tends to be more meaningful than what is my capacity. Because if my capacity is at 90% and it's flat, it doesn't matter. But if my capacity is at 50% and it's on a hockey stick curve, or I'm going to be out of data in 3 days, well, I'm going to be out of space in 3 days, or performance in 3 days. That's what really matters. So we've also started bringing in these synthetic metrics. And we've got about a dozen of those right now that are really, really useful in making things simpler. So I'll highlight a few of those as I go through the product today. It's a good question.
Awesome.
Yep.
And there's a question from Roberto about this. Let me quickly answer. All right. So what everything we're demonstrating here is part of the ONTAP Essentials feature in the Cloud Insights UI. It is available to all editions of Cloud Insights, both the free basic edition as well as the paid editions. The difference is that you know, with the paid editions, you have further data retention and further ability to customize. But everything that Ed is walking through today is available for all editions.
Yes, that's correct.
Keep going, Ed.
If I touch on something that is that requires a subscription, I will let you know. I think it's important to acknowledge that there's different data retention between the basic version and the standard version. And so in basic, we retain data for about 7 days, which is enough to get a lot of your basic reportings. It's enough to get your alert, all your alerts working, that sort of stuff. But if you want longer term data retention, then that becomes the standard feature. And you know, that makes a certain amount of sense. We've got to pay for the storage. So before I get into ONTAP Essentials, there's one more feature on the outside, which is available both in ONTAP Essentials and in observability that I really want to talk about, and that's alerts. So our goal here with alerting is to bring you the kind of alerting that you see in Unified Manager and the kind of alerting that you see in Harvest, and make it available in the cloud so that you can manage from the cloud. And we've largely done that. So at this point, if you're using Harvest or Unified Manager to monitor ONTAP using EMS, we have the same level of functionality in Cloud Insights. In fact, in Cloud Insights, it's a little bit nicer because we have a much better GUI for helping you customize. But all of our products now will let you monitor using EMS. Cloud Insights, as I'm about to show you, has a whole bunch of monitors that are available out of the box. Now, most users would never see what I'm about to show you, right? What I'm about to show you is more for an advanced user, but I think it's good knowledge for everybody here to have. And so what we're looking at here are the monitors that come out of box. I'm doing this for several reasons. As advanced users on the line, I'd like you to understand what's here, but I also want you to understand this is all customizable. And what we find for some of our really big enterprise shops is they set up their own monitors for very specific conditions. And so let's give you a quick tour of how monitors work, right? So we've broken ONTAP monitors up into 2 groups. We have infrastructure monitors, right? And we have examples. Infrastructure monitors are monitors we think you should have on at all times, right? Now, this is your decision. You can turn them on, you can turn them off, but we think you should have them on at all times. And so examples of infrastructure monitors. Infrastructure monitors include things like your power supply failed, right? Infrastructure monitors include things like we've sensed an anti-ransomware attack if you've purchased the anti-ransomware software from ONTAP. That's a little separate from the anti-ransomware software in workload security. But if ONTAP is reporting an ARW event, you'll get that event here right now in real time. We also have base telemetry type things in here. So we'll keep track of changes in your environment using these monitors. And so when you are looking at a volume, if you want to say, and trying to understand what's happened here, right? It's got this low all of a sudden, you'll be able to see, oh, look, there was a QoS policy that was created on this a few days ago because we tracked the change notification. So they really come in 3 groups. They come in the, oh my God, these are critical information on your system, we're telling you right away, or they come in a group of informational ones that generally don't show up anywhere on your dashboards, but do show up when you go down to look at a volume or at a detail level to say, hey, these are the kind of changes that have taken place in this area. So we recommend that you turn them all on. And I'm going to show you the advantages of turning them all on in a few minutes as I walk you through some screens that take advantage of them. But you can see that there's 136 as of this point in time. There are more coming this month. This number constantly goes up a little bit every month as we put the critical ones in here. And to turn them on, you come over here and you just say resume, and that turns them on. Or you can come over here and you can resume them one at a time if that's something that you're interested in. So we have a good list of monitors on here. Every monitor that we have can be customized. So we can come in here, make a copy of this monitor. We can change all the criteria that are in here. I'm not going to go deep into this today, other than to say all the functionality that we're giving you is functionality that you could have done yourself, but of course we don't want you to. Our expertise is based into these alerts, and what's important here is that we're providing them out of the box. But for our really advanced users, it's entirely customizable. So if you were a UM user and you were looking at EMS, you were monitoring by explicit EMSs, this is even easier. If you're a Harvest user and you're monitoring explicit EMSs on-prem, this is even easier. You can go through and make changes. And there's also metric monitors, so we can monitor based on thresholds. We tend to see more of those in our examples. So in our examples, this is where we're looking at things like a high-low latency. These are off by default. And in general, we tell our customers, these are examples here. Our goal is to let you pick one and copy it and customize it to your environment. And the reason for that is, you might not care if a user's home directory is running out of space, right? So you might not want to monitor every volume for a space concern, but you might come in here and you might copy a monitor that's available, that we've predefined for, volume low on snapshots, right? And you might copy that and apply it to a critical workload that's in your environment. But here, at least we've given you the basics of how to do, an ONTAP volume capacity full. And so you might come in here and modify the conditions and just scope this down to one specific volume that you really want to monitor, or a set of volumes you wanted to monitor. Oops, sorry. Excuse me while I click on the wrong things here. So monitoring is quite rich. It's available out of the box. I will call out that we've got a lot of monitors in here for ONTAP. Our CVO list of monitors is growing, and we're starting to find them as well coming on board for FSX and other components that NetApp has. So we give you a out-of-the-box experience that gives you the monitoring that you've got in our existing products. Excuse me. Let's see. Last thing is, I will show you, we do the alerts page. So this is where those monitors fire and trigger. And so in this particular case, a lot of these monitors were set up by this individual user. And so we've got a whole bunch of them here, and they tend to be focused on virtual machine stuff. But let's take a look at an anti-ransomware one. We can, oops, sorry, clicked the wrong thing here. So when you come in here, this is saying, hey, you've got a volume, and you might want to enable anti-ransomware on this volume that the user has set up. These are user-generated ones, and it tells us what volume, what the monitor is that raised this, in case you want to go disable it. It tells us any other things that are going on that particular volume. And if this had been a NetApp funded one, it would have comments that would give you some better instructions and that kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of different alerts that can be raised. The ONTAP infrastructure ones that are out there, they are low spam. Again, they are only raising issues that are critically important. As users start to turn on more things and create their own, you may see more spam in your alert box. And but our recommendation is to turn on our base set, which is low spam, just what you know about. So that's the alerting area. And so. And that's one of our reasons that we think you should pick up Cloud Insights, at least the basic version. Is it's a cloud-based product. It tells you what's wrong in your environment. You can go take action and keep your environment healthy. So with that, let's get a little bit into ONTAP Essentials, unless there's any questions about alerting. ONTAP Essentials is our product space for ONTAP. Now, we've done a couple things here. We've tried to keep the look and feel a little bit of the menu structure, a little bit similar to what you see in Unified Manager or System Manager, to help customers who are using on-prem assets move to the cloud. What we've seen with Unified Manager is it's a larger footprint on-prem. It's because there's a lot of compute work that goes on there. And so our large customers tend to have to deploy a relatively beefy box to monitor all their different ONTAP environments and compute and do all the analytics and all the wonderful things that Unified Manager does. And if you're fine with that, have at it, right? is a great product. But with Cloud Insights, we have a relatively small on-prem footprint. All it is really forwarding data to the cloud. And in the cloud, we do all that analytics, right? So you don't need that big box if you've got a lot of clusters to do all your analysis. We take care of that for you in the cloud. And we've got a similar menu structure. The things that we can do in Unified Manager, Well, we're not at parity yet. We've got the important things that are here now. The reporting, the visualization, the general dashboards, those are in place. So when we move into ONTAP Essentials, we give you a basic dashboard about what's going on your box. Now, again, you can go create any dashboard you like back in that other area, those other areas and observability. But these are predefined for you. And it tells you, what are your top clusters by capacity. It tells you places where you have clusters that could be looking at an outage situation and less than 90 days. So they are tracking to run their aggregates out of storage, and we can click on them and go take a look at what they are. Or this cluster is tracking to run out of performance in less than 90 days. I should I could zoom this out a little bit. You can see the whole title. I'm zoomed in a little bit for the demo purposes. Hot controllers, these are places where you run your HA pairs past the point where if you were to have an HA event, you would notice a performance difference, right? So if you got both of your HA pairs running at 90%, when you fail over, you're not going to be able to maintain the same performance availability to your customers' workloads. And so you may need to reduce the loads a little bit on these HA pairs, transfer them out to other clusters, whatever. But they're a way for you to kind of get a sense of what's there. These are those advanced analytics that Yossi was talking about earlier. We're trying to help you understand. Now, you could go look at the IOPS rates and you could go look at the latency on all the different devices, but we're trying to roll these up into single click values, which give you kind of a sense that, hey, you've got a performance issue here, or hey, you've got a capacity issue here on your dashboard. Then, of course, if you want to go look at details, you can come down here and double click on them and look at things in a greater detail. So that's our entry level dashboard. We could also go and change the scope of this. This is currently looking at everything. We could change the scope down to a specific cluster if we so chose to. Excuse me. Next, so in addition to our main dashboard, we're starting to bring in new dashboards that you would see in Harvest, you would see in Unified Manager. So both Harvest and Unified Manager have our security dashboards, whose focus is on making sure that you're compliant with the ONTAP 9 hardening guide. And what we try and help our customers understand is, have you set your cluster up to NetApp best practices for security? And if you haven't, where are you not compliant? And so in this case, so we've got a dashboard here that kind of reports that high level status. Now the dashboard here is also customizable. And so if you have a particular setting that you're not interested in, right? Maybe you like running with Telnet and having an insecure environment. This particular customer has turned off monitoring of all security features at this point in time. And so what he will see actually in just a couple short days as we deploy the new version of Cloud Insights is he'll see a banner up here saying, hey, you've turned off monitoring of most of the key features. You might want to turn it on to change your compliance score. And so we check all these different features that are out here. And in this case, customers' cases, we're not checking them because they're turned off. And we'll let you know, hey, you've not configured FIPS, right? And if the check is enabled and it's disabled now, that would show up as a violation against your security settings. So we'll help you understand what your compliance is against the ONTAP 9 security hardening guide. We'll help you understand where you are, where you need to go tweak it to become set up according to NetApp's best practices. And this data stays up to date all the time. We're constantly monitoring your system for violations. When something comes out of true, we will send you an alert and let you know, hey, somebody just enabled HTTP in your environment, and you can take over from there. Now, the other thing is there's 2 anti-ransomware features that are available in ONTAP today. For ONTAP today, one is the OnBox anti-ransomware tools, and the other is the workload security product that's built into Cloud Insights. We'll help you get set up and protect your workloads with workload security and cloud insights. And you can do that right now and interactively. And if you have or you want to purchase ONTAP's anti-ransomware, you can do that through your sales rep. And once it's there, we'll help you understand its status. So that's security dashboard in a nutshell. You know, we could get into the individual values here, but I think you can go play with them. Most of them are self-explanatory. I will say, I'll call this one out because some people look at this chart, so I don't understand. What we find for most production shops is most production shops will use either AD or SAML or local, right? And you know, our best practices generally are not to have local users, to have it all managed through your identity provider. And so if we start seeing that, hey, all of a sudden something's set up with both Active Directory and SAML, you know, maybe you've got a security misconfiguration. So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to show you when we have a dashboard like this, is that, hey, you know, maybe if this was a 1, you set up one of your systems differently than all that rest. Did you really intend that? Maybe not. You know, we'll see. And of course, just knowing that you've got expired certificates. These are lab systems, so that's always a valuable thing to have. Our menu structures here, you know, alerts. We do have an alerts menu that's available here as well. These are just your ONTAP alerts. And so if you want to just know what's going on with ONTAP, you know, you can see, hey, we've hit a storage capacity limit. This is one of our predefined ones. You'll see we give you instructions for how to take care of that. But alerts is the same as we would see on the other page, just scoped down to what we would see for ONTAP. Oops, I navigated outside. So let's get into these 3 menu items here. Infrastructure. So infrastructure, these are the different objects that you have that comprise your infrastructure. So they're your clusters, they're your nodes, right? They're your tiers of storage, your aggregates, and your volumes themselves. Also storage VMs. These are things that are about providing service more than the services that we provide ourselves. So if we go in and look at, a cluster, we'll get a list of all the different clusters that make up this particular environment. And one of the things that I want to call out is, like you've seen in UM, like we have in Harvest, like we have in our on-prem tools, there's a little view here that lets us take a look at things from a different perspective. So if we want to look at our clusters from a performance capacity perspective, same clusters, different data, right? We can sort by total IOPS, right? And see what are our busiest clusters or any other columns that we have in here. Similarly, if we want to look at capacity or security, right? We can come in here and take a look at all the different information that's available. Here are the ONTAP versions, right? Important things to know. So all of our menus are set up this way. And I think, you know, I won't go through each and every one of them, but what I would like you to understand is there's quite a bit of contextual value in here. So here's, you know, we talked about cold storage. Demo systems. Maybe the demo system doesn't have this working, but we can look at different views for all our different volumes. We can understand performance. We can understand QoS policy groups. We can look at volumes by capacity. We can look at volumes that don't have data protection relationships set up. So we've tried to provide you with the different views that tend to be the most popular things that storage administrators want to go understand about their environment. So encryption, they're all here. So check out the menus, check out the different objects that are in here. Most of your questions can probably be answered. Same with aggregates, right? It's all kind of laid out here. Next month, on this menu on the left-hand side, you'll also see VMware. So for your VMware, and next month is, I don't know, a week and a half away or something like that, you'll also be able to see any virtual machines that are associated with ONTAP storage, right? That'll show up right below workloads. And so there you'll be able to go end to end, understand if there's any problems with those virtual machines as it relates to storage. So look for things like that that are coming. Let's see, NFS shares, CIFs, we can look at all that kind of stuff here, understand the paths, understand how they're configured and set up. Here we go, right? So those are all here. Now, it's important to call out, we can click on any of these things. If I click on a volume, you know, we will go take a look at that volume's configuration and setup. And we can see all kinds of information about that volume, basic information. We can see, you know, latency and IOPS. This particular volume is probably idle as it's a lab system. We can see the node that it's on. We can see any hosts that are connected to it, any virtual machines that are connected to it. If there were any alerts on this object, and that would include things that tell you, you know, hey, you made a change 25 minutes ago, right? Or, you know, this object, this was just created yesterday. Those kind of things would show up here as well, letting you know what's going on with your individual volume. So at this point, what we've done with ONTAP Essentials is we've tried to recreate the browsing and inventory functions that we have in Unified Manager and System Manager and in Harvest in the cloud. So customers can come in, they can get a detailed view of all the different stuff that's going on. They can see where their systems are. We have the reports that are here are very useful if you're trying to understand where is your capacity going, where is your performance going, those aspects of Cloud Insights. We have more dashboards like the security dashboard coming soon, and more content on the way regularly. So that's the high level view of ONTAP. Yes, please.
We had a question in the Q&A.
Yes, please.
So if you can see the question, or any tips for partners? Will customers for partners show up in a single login, or do we need to have separate accounts connected to each customer?
The way that Cloud Insights works today is that you know, if the partner is doing the setup, they would have to add an account and authorize themselves for that particular client. And a client can also do that. But right now, today, out of the box, we don't set that up. What I will say is with ONTAP Basic, there is a difference and a change. If you're a long-term NetApp customer and you've known Cloud Insights well over the years, Cloud Insights, the data itself has always been SOC 2 compliant, meaning the customer owns it and they have absolute say over that. With Basic, that's changed. So with Basic, NetApp has the rights to the data. And so we can set up a salesperson or a support person inside their environment, but that has to be done by somebody. That access has to be set up and granted. And so that can be set up at install time if the partner is doing the setup. And that's what I would recommend. But there's nothing that will automatically today create that partner account. But you know, even today for the SOC 2 compliant paid customers, we see many of our Cloud Insights customers want that involvement. So hopefully that'll work for you.
Yeah, if I could jump in, add in on that, right? So you might be asking, you know, do we have a similar capabilities to the capabilities that are in Active IQ, where through your sign-in as partner, you can see a large list of systems from many different customers. As Ed said, because of SOC 2 compliance, we do not have those views in Cloud Insights. Let's say that you're a partner and you have 10 customers that are leveraging this. Each customer would have their own separate account within Cloud Insights, which is firewalled and completely separate. And then a user or users from your organization could be added to each one of those environments, and then they would be able to access them individually to see the information. There's no role-based access control currently within Cloud Insights, so every user within the environment gets to see everything that's there. You can't say, oh, some users will only see certain data centers, etc. That view isn't there, and The reason is that the focus of Cloud Insights is providing you that overall visibility and reporting, which is the hallmark of the paid edition. And so we haven't really had the need to do that separation. Back to you, Ed, sorry.
No worries. Now, I guess the only other thing that I want to close on is that ONTAP Essentials does leverage all the core features of Cloud Insights. So for instance, while we've added EMS, while we've added metrics, all those sorts of things, if we want to go look at the EMS feeds, right? These are all here now, right? So we can come over to the log queries, and we've added a bunch of different kinds of log related searches. And again, we're now into the advanced stuff, but I think there's some folks on this call that are good with that. So we can look at EMS logs and issue queries against them. We've also created a set of synthetic logs. So these 3 logs here, virtualization, switch, and storage, these are all synthetic logs that denote change. So if we wanted to know what had changed on ONTAP over time, we could look at this change log and see, go query a volume, and it would bring up all the different logs that are there. We can look at our EMS events. We can look at any attributes that are on there. We can add a filter to say, I just want to look at this aggregate UID and anything with that aggregate ID, and then we can see all the different EMSs that have been created over time that are related to that. So we've got powerful browsing capabilities, both for EMS as well as for synthetic logs that are change log related. So there's a number of tricks under the covers that we've brought in to make the kind of functionality that you've seen in this demo work. And all of those underpinnings are available to our advanced users. Again, we haven't done anything that users couldn't do themselves. And we've made sure all those spelunking tools are available. If you're one of those guys with who's got a propeller hat on and is super smart, these tools are available to you. And some of our really advanced users are using them. So check out queries, check out our log performance, check out the dashboard builders. There's quite a bit of data here. If you go to the metric queries, you're going to see all kinds of new, the wealth of ONTAP data that is available has grown, as Yossi said, from 600 to a lot more. So be aware of that. It's okay to go play with this. You should play with it, find out what kinds of things that are out there. But what you should also know is out of the box, turn on monitors, you're good to go. And the basic dashboards and stuff that are there will keep you covered. All right, I've kind of completed my demo. If there's any more detailed questions, I'd be happy to go show you them in product, or we can move on.
Yeah, maybe I have a question, and maybe to repeat, how easy is it to get started with this? If I just have some NetApp controllers on premise, what's the path to get to ONTAP Essentials, and how hard is it?
Sure. So I'm going to change my environment here for a minute.
Or how easy is it, I should say.
I think it's fairly easy, but let me show you. So there's a couple things that we've done in Cloud Insights that I think should be NetApp's new model. And I'm going to show you the first one, right? And we are looking at adopting this model in other products. So it's on route. So let's say I want to add a new data collector. So I come down to admin, data collectors. I could say new data collector. Now, it's easy to get lost here. Cloud Insights supports a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of different things we can collect data from. And so there's this big list. But we can just quickly filter that down. We can say, I want to collect some data from ONTAP. I'm not actually going to hit do here, but we can give it a name and an IP address and a password, right? And as soon as we've done that, we're good to go. Now, the one thing I didn't talk about as I sailed through this is the username password, right? Is we were using an already existing on-prem agent to do that. So in this case, we had an agent on-prem. We used it. It started collecting data from this new cluster. I hit save. A couple minutes later on the screen, I hit save on the screen. A couple minutes later, we're going to have data from that new cluster, and all the wealth and good stuff here is available to you. Now, if you don't have an acquisition unit already installed on-prem, let's go through that workflow.
Ed, while you pull that up, maybe another way to answer the question is you start, the way to do this is there's a web page that we'll share at the end of this presentation. You go there and you create your user, which is the same as the Blue XP users. And then at that point, you simply start a free trial of Cloud Insights, where you get 30 days to use the full feature set unlimited. And that's how you use it. You start the free trial, and at that point, you then kick off the steps of installing the agent, which Ed is about to show you. And literally a 5-minute process to get that account up and running for you.
So to get that,
is it so that once the free trial has expired, it continues to be the free version, or how does that work?
Yes. So at any point during the free trial, you can choose to downgrade to the basic edition, which is no charge for NetApp customers. And we hope that many customers, and especially for partners, right? We hope you're able to retire quota by selling the paid edition.
Yeah, and I will say this, the adjacent technology plays in Cloud Insights are valuable. So while we're not covering, for instance, Kubernetes today or VMware today, the ability to say, if you're a Kubernetes guy, that you've got a PV that's about to run out of space, right, or having a performance issue, or isn't properly configured, right, with your ONTAP storage, the ability for the storage administrator to be able to say, look, storage, fine, man. You didn't hook things up right downstream on your side. Go fix your PV or your PVC. Those are wonderful features that have great adjacency value. And starting off with that demo client, with a trial license, so you can try a few of those features out. We hope people see value there.
Yeah, Ed, can I share screen for a sec?
Sure. Do you want me to finish the acquisition flow, or do you want to jump to
just a quick, just to add in on this. Sorry. Thank you. So this is like the first slide that we show when we talk about Cloud Insights with customers. And everything that you've seen today presented by Ed falls into this leftmost bucket here around analyzing performance, analyzing metrics, analyzing logs. We have these two other capabilities that are out there around Kubernetes, and most especially around ONTAP ransomware. So at some level, you might say, even when a customer only wants to use the basic features here, they're still going to hear, we are very successful with getting customers to understand the value and buy into the anti-ransomware capabilities that Cloud Insights has. These augment and go beyond what's packaged with ONTAP and provide the user level analytics to help understand file access patterns and identify ransomware attacks early. So a very simple motion is, you lead with, you're buying ONTAP, great. You have a choice now. You don't need to deploy on-prem monitoring. You can use SaaS monitoring. That's, and you can use the basic edition here, but look what else you can do, right? You have this great ransomware protection, which is, industry leading. Anyways, back to you, Ed, and back to the details.
Okay. And so let's just finish off your question here on deployment. So if you haven't deployed an agent, we can come over here and say new acquisition unit. And here, where do you want to install it? We support 2 different hosts today. We support Linux and Windows. Now I will tell you, if you're an Astra customer, we also support Kubernetes, but let's not go there for the purposes of this call. So you got a Linux guy here, and then we've got this install snippet. Really what this is saying is you copy and paste this onto your Linux system, and it installs the agent. It connects it up to Cloud Insights. It's done securely. and you don't have to worry about anything. This is different than what you see with other software, where you have to go out to the NSS site, you have to create an NSS account, then you have to go find the software that you're looking for, download it, and install it yourself using the docs. We've made this a one-click installer. And we can do that because you're already signed into Cloud Insights. You've already been through the click wraps. So we can present a much simpler installation procedure for you that is really copy-paste, one-click install. The software comes up, it connects to Cloud Insights, and then we're back to the workflow I just showed you a minute ago where you had an on-prem agent. So hopefully that, again, all these things have advanced, right? Yes, I just showed you the happy path. You're a customer who does proxy, that's very common. You have other special needs, like you want to scan this software before you deploy it. All those things are handled and accounted for. But the happy path, right? The guy who just wants to try it out, right? One click, done, moves on, right? The guy who wants to scan, check, all that kind of stuff, that's all supported as well. We understand the full breadth of the customer base. But we wanted to get you up and running easy, and that's this one-click install. Other questions?
We don't currently have any questions in the chat or Q&A, but thank you for clarifying the installation path.
No worries, no worries. Well, then I will wrap up the demo portion of this session. I'm going to hand back to you, Yossi. I suspect you have a slide or two to close us out. Thank you for the time, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Indeed, what's a product manager without a set of slides? So honestly, you're just a couple of minutes away from wrapping this up. Thank you for staying this long on this session. I hope you found it interesting. So beyond these core capabilities that Cloud Insights have, quite often as a more technical person, I find the following view sort of helpful for me into understanding where things are in Cloud Insights. When I think of Cloud Insights, there's really three key core pieces. There's collecting the data, there's processing and storing it, and then there's viewing it in various useful ways. And so when we think about collecting the data, there's a wealth of capabilities that we can go and collect from, both storage systems, compute, any APIs, any applications, even ONTAP and their F policy for ransomware protection. And then once all of that data is brought into the Cloud Insights service in our data center, we have a wide variety of processing techniques around this, including analytics, machine learning, monitoring for logs, monitoring for metrics, etc. The presentation is where you see the highlighted item of ONTAP Essentials. So really what we built out as ONTAP Essentials is an additional presentation layer that's custom built for the ONTAP professional. Everything else that's happening in supporting ONTAP Essentials is standard Cloud Insights technology that's now being sort of designed to service and answer the needs specifically of the storage admin managing and monitoring an ONTAP system. So hopefully that helps you sort of situate yourself as to where ONTAP Essentials is. It's a piece of presentation. It's a set of views that make it really easy for a storage admin to consume all the great data that Cloud Insights is able to collect from their environments, be it on-prem or in the cloud, and store in our service. So with that, just sort of call to action, right? So we have a couple of recent sessions recorded during the Insight conference in October that are available. I'll be sharing these links in the deck after the presentation. And I would say the easiest path for you is to just get your customers to go and try it out. Do the free trial, utilize the resources we have out there to get onboarded. It's really simple to get that first ONTAP system added to the environment and and once that is done, all the ONTAP Essentials menus and views populate with information. So go there and see what you can do, and if that helps you retire more quota by selling paid edition. Ed, any closing remarks?
I will call out also, we do have a series of Tech ONTAP blogs that are done by a combination of our TMEs and myself, where you can go double click on many topics for cloud insights like security or power or performance. So check those out too if you got access to our Tech ONTAP blogs. We can send that link out.
I'll add that to this before we send it out to John to distribute. Well, last call for questions. Happy to answer any open questions if there's anything. And if not, thank you very much for hanging around for over an hour. Much appreciated. I hope you found this valuable, and feel free to reach out. We're on LinkedIn and in NetApp email. Any questions, we'll be happy to answer and help. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present. Go ahead.
We love feedback. Both Yossi and I love feedback, so please do send it in. Thank you.
I will forward any feedback to you guys. And a big thank you for your participation today. I really enjoyed the demo and the overview.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. I can see people leaving now, so I think it's good to close out the webinar. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.